What's going on, guys? And welcome back to the ShiftEQ.Podcast with Alan K. I am joined by my amazing friend, Vanessa Flores. How are you? Did I say that right? Vanessa Flores, correct?
Yes, you did say it correctly.
Okay. How's everything going? Good afternoon.
Everything's going good.
Right.
It's just peak week for me, so I'm just trying to be energized over here.
I was gonna say, congrats on making it to peak week. It's are you doing the Mr. America show? Is that what you're doing?
Yes, Mr. America, so that's next Saturday.
Next Saturday. How are you? Because you live in Texas, right? So what's the travel plan to get there? Are there's like a strategy to get there, even though you're in peak week?
So this is my first time ever traveling for a show. I've only competed in
Oh,
Texas. So I'm really excited. So basically, I am driving to Houston on Wednesday and then flying out of Houston I think we're flying into Philadelphia and then renting a car and then driving to Atlantic City.
all
Yes.
right, all right. And how are you? How are you feeling about this competition? Like in comparison to the other times that you've competed?
I'm actually feeling very great. We're bringing a different package to the show, so I'm super
Hmm.
excited. So I know last November I brought my best, but I think this show in October is going to be like better than November.
Oh, right. I always enjoy it when bodybuilders say that they're bringing in a brand new package because it's for most bodybuilders you can actually see the difference and you can actually see a new package where certain other personal developments like I'm a brand new me, like what does that even mean? But in bodybuilding, like it's
Yes.
you actually see the new me, the new package per se. And it has always, Vanessa, I always got to ask, is there a certain meal or food or something that you're looking forward to on the other end of that competition?
Yes, I love food. I'm a foodie.
Uh-huh.
So I'm really looking forward to, well, not after this. So this show, I'm most likely going to keep it clean. So I'll probably just do like a steak and potatoes afterwards or burgers and fries. But what I
Hmm.
really would like to enjoy is like a pizza with some wings and maybe like a beer. But I'm gonna have to wait until after I'm like done.
Done. When's done?
So my next show after this one will be November 4th, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go to the Cayman Islands and compete over there November
Okay.
4th.
Wow. So even
Hmm.
more traveling.
Yes.
Wow. And then what's the show that's in the Cayman Islands, like Federation or exact show name?
Um, I don't know the exact show name, but I think it's with like I'm not too sure if I'm saying it right. The Federation, I think it's DFCA. I think I have to look and double check. I just literally registered for the show today.
Oh wow, that's so cool. That's
Hmm.
and I imagine too, like for traveling for the Mr. America, that you can just kind of learn it or put on top of that learning and learn some more and apply that to going to the Cayman Islands and competing in that show as well. That's got to be awesome. How are you feeling about like I guess for you as a pro bodybuilder, how many times have you like gone through like a pro circuit like this, like the traveling, the whole nine yards? Like, can you talk about your experience with that so far?
Yeah, so last year was my first experience of like being a pro. So half of the year last year, I competed as a pro athletic because I wasn't too sure that I fit into wellness until they told
Mm,
me to go try it. So then in October, I did the Texas Titan, which was with
mhm.
GBO at the time, but they're Onyx now. Um, I did that show to qualify for Atlas. And so they were like, go try wellness, see if you fit with wellness. And I was like, okay. So I went and I got second place and I qualified for Atlas, which was like the world championship show. And at that show, I came
Mhm.
in fourth. And I realized
Oh,
that maybe I love athletic, it's fun, but I need to follow I need to follow wellness and I love wellness. So I'm just going to focus on that and keep growing and do that.
wow.
Hmm.
Wow. So it sounds like you doing the athletic portion of it kind of was like the catalyst to get you into bodybuilding and pursuing it even further.
Yeah, because when I first ever competed, I did bikini and athletic. Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, that's interesting. You know what? I do enjoy the athletic portion of it that the NFF offers,
Hmm.
because I feel like if you don't want to get down to a bikini, or if you don't want to get down to the certain outfits that are kind of revealing, that it's kind of like your introduction to getting comfortable with getting on stage and comfortable with that. Like what are your thoughts on that division, if you don't mind me asking?
On athletic,
Hmm.
I think athletic is pretty great. It's for like females who don't really want to wear a bikini on stage or don't feel like as comfortable to be showing more. So I
Hmm.
think athletic is like a great start, especially if you're, or let's say transformation for people who would like to like have a transformation. I've seen stories that are beautiful that they started with transformation, then then they went to athletic because they liked their journey and they wanted more of like a push or a different goal. So then they did athletic. And then I've seen some athletic athletes get their confidence and like, oh, I love this. And then they go and try
Hmm.
bikini or figure, depending on which category fits them more.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. And I think that's like the best part about it. This is what I love about bodybuilding, is that everybody's on a different path, everybody's at a
Mm-hmm.
different journey. And just like what you said, the transformation, like if you're to put that person, like compare to the pros that are on stage, yeah, it doesn't make sense. But if you were to see where this guy started, and for him to actually get through everything just to even be up on stage and be highlighted, it's like
Mm-hmm.
that's where it's at. That's what I love about the sport, for sure. Um, so for you in this, where for you would you say is like your starting point for bodybuilding, or for just lifting weights, or if you had to pick like a beginning point, what would it be for you?
Like the beginning of how I started into all this, or just like,
Yeah, pick one. Like how in general, right? Like for you in this journey per se, like where would you say your journey, quote unquote, started?
so my journey started, it started right after, no, I guess in 2020 when COVID happened.
Okay.
That's where like my fitness journey started. Like I got into running every day because I needed to get out of the house. And then afterwards, when they let us back into the gym, that's when I was like, okay, I need a personal trainer because I want to start lifting and get into like seriously into lifting. And then I did that. And at that time, my personal trainer wanted to do a show. And I was like, okay, well, if you do a show, I'll do one with you. So we can like do it together. And so she was like, okay. So I ended up finding a coach. And I guess that's how I started falling in love with fitness because I wanted to keep, what is it? Like, I would meet a goal that I would set for myself. And then I was
Hmm.
like, okay, what is the next goal that I want to set for myself?
Ah, okay.
And then I just wanted to keep improving and improving because I loved how where my physique was coming. And I was like, okay, I can keep pushing harder and I can keep getting better and better.
Wow. Can you do you remember like what one of those goals were like? Like can you illustrate what that would be? Like one of your first fitness goals?
One of my first fitness goals was to get toned and build muscle and lose body fat because I was a little heavier set. Um, and so,
Okay.
and so I, that was just my goal. I just wanted to feel comfortable in clothes and feel happy in what I was wearing. So
Hmm.
that was one of my
Mm.
biggest goals when I first started getting into fitness.
Nice. So you
Mhm.
started the running that got you into signing up for the gym, getting into that. Like, so what was like that beginning like for you getting into the gym? Like, do you remember, were you like scared? Were you like looking at a dumbbell? Like, what the hell is that? Like, what was that for you?
So like the gym wasn't scary for me, like because I was an athlete in high school and like I was in a water polo player and a swimmer. So like
Oh,
I've been
wow. Okay.
around, yeah, yeah. So I've been around like the lift, I mean the weight room and all of that. But when you take time away from it, it's like, do I remember how to do this? Am I is my form correct? And so I
Hmm.
know when I first and I work in a gym too. But so when I started lifting again, I was like, am I doing this movement right, or do I look funny? And so that's why I was like, okay, I need a personal trainer just to make sure like I I'm doing everything correctly because I also didn't want to injure myself.
Hmm.
Yes.
Okay. So you learned how to, you said you learned how to lift weights playing water polo and swimming in high school?
Yes, because they would take us to the weight room and we would have to lift some weights and all of that. So I did know how to like stuff around the gym.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, well, I
but
just wasn't aware that water polo players, and pardon my ignorance, I didn't know that there were lifts for swimmers or water polo players. Like, what were those lifts like?
So basically, we did a lot of leg workouts, and we did a lot of. We also did upper body as well. Not that I know not that
Mm,
many swimmers and water polo players would go to the gym, but my coach would like to take us. Like she would make us go and lift as a team, and then we also would go out to like our track field, and we would run and then do like push-ups and abs and different workouts outside as well, because she wanted to keep us conditioned. So when we were in the water either we were in the water or outside of the water, we were very conditioned. So,
dang, she
mhm.
just drilled into y'all, huh? Just like that. What was it?
Yes,
What was she like a hard ass too? Because it sounds like she's kind of like a slurred hard ass.
yeah, she was. She was definitely a hard ass. And then I also was in a club swim team too. So those coaches made us do the same thing because they wanted us to be the best.
Wow. Yeah,
Hmm.
you had some conditioning in high school, like, and so when you were done with that, like, did you still swim? Did you, or were you just like, fuck this, I'm over this? Like, like, how was your approach?
When I was done. I went to college,
Yeah.
and then I went to the gym like several times, and then after that, college life.
Right.
I did not work out.
Oh man, where'd you go to school?
So I went to school to Texas A&M Corpus Christi.
Oh, dude, I heard it is party town city over there in at A&M.
So that's so there's different A&M. So there's A&M College Station, and then I was one of the sister schools, which was the Corpus Christi one. And yes, that one was also a party school because we live by the beach.
Oh, that's right. I keep forgetting that Texas has a beach. Like, I don't know
Hmm.
why I keep forgetting. So wait, so is that what brought you to Texas then? Is college is going from, because you said you grew up in LA, right? And
Yes.
then college, then is that what got you into staying at Texas?
No, so I moved in
Okay.
because my parents moved for their job, so I moved with them.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's nice. Okay. And then so then yeah, what was I guess what was your for college, like what was your fitness like? You said you kind of like just kind of fell out. Like would you say that you just kind of lost your routine altogether? You say that, like what was I guess that experience like?
I guess when I went, I wanted to, I don't know, college is college. You like figure yourself out in college. I don't know. So when I went to college, my main focus was like was school. And so I was just trying to get used to the college life and school. And then also I joined a sorority. So like my time was on that. So like fitness wasn't even a priority to me at that time.
Okay. Okay. No, I always find it funny because I feel like certain people in their journey, there is a point where I don't want to say lapse out, but there is a point where like, we don't make it a priority anymore. We kind of forget it. And then you kind of find your groove back per se.
Hmm.
Right. And so it sounds like to me though, there's something in there where you happen to find, like you said, was it COVID and that was from college to COVID? COVID is where it started again for you fitness wise?
Yes. So COVID is where it started for me fitness wise because like you know how we were like we couldn't go anywhere or do anything.
Uh-huh.
So then I was like I can't be home. So then I started and I was like and I don't want to pack on this COVID weight and just being at home. So I ran for like 45 minutes in the morning and I would run 45 minutes in the evening twice a day.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? That's for me, I was very similar to that for me, my fitness journey. Like I played football in high school, had certain breakups in my life that just made me hit the weight room and then get out of it and like hit the weight room and get out of it,
Same.
right? Yeah, same.
Same.
Interesting how like breakups are like, I'm gonna go work out and it's the
Yes.
best remedy.
Hmm.
And then oh my god, so real quick, I'm thinking of just like lifting, just like she'll never do that to me again, like ever. Like it's what I imagine. But then I think it was COVID where I started running, and I just kind of like the same mindset. Like, I don't want to put on this COVID weight, even though I gained a lot of weight during COVID. And then just when the gym started opening up, I started, hitting the weights again and then sign up for a competition. And now kind of like here I am, it's pretty similar. It's interesting how COVID ends up being a catalyst for a lot of people, or just basically running is a
Hmm.
catalyst for a lot. So, all right. So I got to ask, in this journey, since you started competing, where did Miss Quad Queen of the South come from? Is there a Miss Quad Queen of the East and a West? Is there like a Miss Quad Queen meetup? I'm not gonna lie to you. When I thought about this, or when I thought about asking you this, I was thinking of like um of Wizard of Oz and the Wicked Witch of the East, the Wicked Witch of the West, and I was just thinking Miss
Oh my
Quad Queen
gosh.
of the South, Quad Queen of the North. Like, oh, you're a quad queen? Really? From where? Like, so where did that where did that that come from? Where was that inspired? Can you go into that, please?
Yeah, so it was after a bodybuilding show. Some of us went out afterwards to like celebrate and all of that. And so randomly, these group of guys came up to me because I was wearing all black, and they were like, "Are you the Queen of the South?" And I was like, no, because I guess they thought that because I was wearing all black, I also had like a black coat on, and I was also smoking a cigar. And so they came up to me and they're like, "Are you the Queen of the South?" And I was like, okay, I can see where they came up with that. So then I told my friends, and then they're like, "Oh, you're the Quad Queen of the South." And then that's how that happened.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, yo, the picture you just painted, all black, smoking a cigar, that sounds like a lot of boss ass energy. Just saying.
And yes, and then like I had like my black long hair at the time too. So I was like, I guess I'm the Queen of the South.
Yeah, duh. Like, obviously, look at these quads.
Yes.
So that it's funny because I remember like talking to you before on Instagram, and you're like, yeah, well, I am the quad queen of the South. Like, does that you know what I'm talking about? Does that I imagine that has to play into your persona for how you train? Like, there's no way you're gonna skip leg day, Like, does that actually play into how you approach your training?
Yes, I was like, these quads, since I have that name, have to keep up their appearance. And then also, that's like my alter ego when I get on stage. So, like, I step on stage, and that gives me even more confidence, especially with my posing. Because, like, at the beginning, when I started bodybuilding, posing was like my least favorite. I was not
Hmm.
comfortable with it. And now, like, I love it. I can flow with it. And so I just like tap into that alter ego, and I'm like, okay, I'm the quad queen of the South on this stage. Let's show them what I got.
Wow. I remember I spoke to Eric Murphy, and
Hmm.
I remember I asked him if he had dance moves or he took dance lessons, and he's like, no, I can't dance at all. I'm like, what? I was like, I've seen you on stage. You just have these moves. He's like,
He
yeah, because
does.
he's like, I get into this mindset, and it's like a alter ego, like you just
Hmm.
said, and he just kind of takes over, and you see Murph, he is that man. That man's got some moves.
Yes,
So
he does. I
it's
love watching him. He's just every time he's on stage, it's like he's dancing. He's phenomenal.
right. So to
Hmm.
hear that he doesn't take any dance lessons, or he doesn't have any, it was I kind of was taken back. So that you are the second instance of someone explaining an alter ego while they're on stage. Like, what is that like? Take us into your alter ego. Is there a name? Is that like Senora Quad Queen of the South? You don't fuck with me. Is there something like that?
I guess when I have my makeup all done and my jewelry and my shoes, I like tap into that alter ego, and I'm like, okay, it's time to bring it. It's time to go out there and like show off all my hard work, show off everything that I've what we sacrifice a lot of things too in bodybuilding. And so
Absolutely.
like all of this like hard work that we put in, I'm gonna go out there and show you what I worked hard for. And so that's why I tap into that alter ego. But then when you catch me off stage, I'm like yes, I talk to a lot of people and I'm like a people person, but sometimes I'm super shy and I keep to myself. So it's like two opposite people.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. Man, I can hear your dogs back there. What are they doing, by the way? What is they?
So Jack Daniels is asking to go outside right now. And then
Nice.
and then Bella, she's just over here just trying to be pet right now.
Can I see? Can you bring them on? I want to see them. I'm sorry. I'm the biggest stickler for
Yes.
dogs.
Come here, Bella. Let me see if I can bring Bella.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
She's so this is Bella.
Hi, Bella. Well, I like how you're in your AirPods as if the Bella's
Yes.
gonna hear me. Yeah, in my
So there
head.
is Bella. Come here, Jackie. Let's see if he'll come. Come here. Can you come here? Let's see. This is my big boy. I don't know. He doesn't want to come up, but
He said his name is Jack Daniels.
yes, it's Jack Daniels and Bella.
If quite the contrast of dog names. Where do their names come from? Curious.
So Jack Daniels, I got in college, and so he,
Explains a lot. Enough
and
said. Enough said. Tell me you got a dog in college without saying you got a dog in college. His name is Jack
yes.
Daniels. Say no more.
So that
Say no more.
so that's where that name came from. It's from college. There's more to that story, but
Oh, I'm all ears after you tell me about Bella. Yes, I'm curious.
and then Bella, so I'm a huge Disney person and I wanted to name her like Princess Belle. So we just named her Bella.
Oh, I got you. All right. Crazy fun story about Jack Daniels. I want to know.
So in college, whiskey was my drink, and so Jack Daniels was my drink. Well, whiskey and tequila are still my drinks, but whiskey was my like ultimate drink in college, and so that's where Jack Daniels came from. My roommate was like, "You have to name him Jack Daniels." I was like, "Yeah, you're right. He does look
Yeah,
like one."
obviously. Yeah, duh, obviously. Yeah, speaking about alter egos, man, when I was in the Navy, Jack Daniels would bring that alter ego out of me. That's for damn sure. And woo, we got stories about that guy at another time on a different podcast. That's
Oh, I'm gonna have to hear about that. I'm gonna be the one
hmm,
asking you questions.
you know what? Actually, really interesting. So my second deployment, my second deployment, we went out to Dubai. And in Dubai, we went out to the club. And what's interesting is you can't drink anywhere in Dubai unless the bar is attached to a hotel, right? And so,
Oh,
yeah, it's really interesting on how conservative it is, but they don't conservatively pour in these hotels at all, these bars at all. But we went to a club that was literally Jack Daniels themed. Everything was Jack Daniels, Jack Daniels, Jack Daniels. So of course we got bottles of Jack Daniels, and we had ourselves a sailor of a night in Dubai. But yeah, it was just like, wow, this is great. Now I look back at him like, man, Alan, you're a degenerate that just kind of manifested to more degeneracy. But you know, it's a fun stories to have.
yes.
Yeah. So all right, I'm actually more interested in this alter ego while you're on stage, because I don't think people really can grasp it, because like I think you depicted a perfect example where you just have this persona on stage, but then actually meeting you off stage, like, oh hi, kind of like, wow, this person is really shy. Like, so what is it about being on stage that brings out a different confidence, a different persona? And mind you, you can tend to the dog if you want to. There's
Okay, I'm gonna walk and talk because
you
he really needs to go.
can.
I was like, I don't know if I can move this, but I am
Oh
going
yeah,
to
by
move
all
this.
means, it's a podcast. Talk regularly.
We'll
So
be outside for a little bit while he uses the restroom.
it's all good.
I'll just leave him outside.
Okay. Poor Jack Daniels.
I know he really needed to go potty.
Yeah, man. Hey, bless that dog's heart.
Okay, cool. But my alter ego when I step on stage, let's see. Um, I think it just makes me feel, because I do get nervous. When people tell, everyone gets nervous when they step on stage, but some people like to say, no, I don't, because I've done this so many times. I was like, no, you still get nervous.
You do, right?
Um, yeah, so I get really nervous right before I step on stage to the point where like sometimes like my fingers are moving and I can't stop moving. And then when I step on that stage, all those nerves go away because that's when I tap into that alter ego. And once I'm there, like everything, like I just go blank sometimes. Like I'm like, I just did that. I just went out there and I just did all my
Mm.
quarter turns. I did my posing routine and I just feel comfortable and confident once I tap into that alter ego. Because right before I step on stage, I'm just a nervous wreck.
Oh, is there any like music you listen to or anything like that before you get up on stage to try to like kind of alleviate or kind of hype you up? Like what kind of a person, like, are you hyped up? Are you a mellow? Like which one of those are you?
So I always have to listen to Beyonce right before I step on stage. That's Queen Bee right there. Like
Queen
she gives,
bee.
yeah, she gives me all the confidence too. So every time I pose, I listen to Beyonce, I listen to Christina Aguilera, and those are the two that I listen to. And so right before I step on the stage, it's either one of their songs that I'm like listening to.
I, I'm, I, I imagine you having a now that's what I call 2000s album and playing those two on the two different tracks that they have on there. So that's what I'm imagining right now. I don't know if I'm showing my age, but oh my geez. Um, anyways, so when was I guess from like your time now that you're getting ready for all these stages, these stages, all these other shows as a professional, like what was your first experience being on stage like? What was the show? What was the experience? Was there any tapping into your alter ego, or like where did all what was like that entire first experience like for you?
So like my first show ever was the Alamo Showdown, and that was in October of 21.
Mhm.
So that was like my first show. I was very nervous stepping on stage, but like NFF is just like family. They made me feel comfortable. The expediter that was there was like, shake off the nerves. You got this. You work so hard. Just go out there and show them. And like having that person like have confidence in you right before stepping on stage and telling that you look great, you look amazing, gave me confidence at my first show. And I think that's like what made me fall in love with NFF and bodybuilding was how it felt like a family, like a reunion. Like
Mm.
we didn't like nobody knew each other, but everybody was like super friendly, super nice to get to know each other.
Nice,
Hmm.
nice, nice. And then your training leading up into that, like was there any holy shit moments like, oh my god, I did sign up to get up on stage, or oh my god, I'm gonna actually be half naked in front of people? Were there any of those kind of fears, doubts, or any of that, and how did you go through it if you did?
No, I didn't really have any fears going up to it. I just didn't know what to expect my first show. I was just so happy with all the progress I was making and how I looked. I didn't even know like how you needed to look for a like show
Mm.
for my first show ever. And so when I stepped on stage and I saw everyone there, I was like, "Holy moly, look at us! We all look so good. What are the judges looking for?" And
That's awesome.
and so like after my first show, then that and when I got my pro card, that's when I got like, okay, I need to know like the different categories. What are the judges looking for? This is what I need to bring for the next time I step on stage as a pro. So like once I became a pro, like my mindset changed of like, and then I started like getting more into the sport and learning more and wanting to like know everything about it because of how much like I enjoyed it and loved it.
Right, right. Can you go into that? Because I think you highlighted certain things that people don't realize until they're in the process, which is like you don't know what division you're actually competing in until you're actually competing. You're like, oh, this is what they're looking at. Like, this is the evolution. Like, can you kind of go into what that process has been like for you, like, and how it's evolved?
Hmm. So like when I first started off, they didn't have wellness. So my coach at the time was like, let's see where you fit in and what where you fit in. So that's why I did bikini and athletic. And so I my first show I didn't place in bikini, but I placed in athletic. And then I was like, okay, so then I went to my second show, and I think it's time for them to come in. I went to, I realized that that's when I got my pro card in athletic, and I was like, okay, this division is for me. And then I started reading the criteria for it, and I was like, okay, this is it. So then I did my pro debut the following, what was it, in 2022? So last year, I did my pro debut, and the way the feedback or what they told me is that like my quads were a little too big, or my lower half was a little too big for athletics. And so I was like, oh man. So I was like, well, what's the next thing for me? And so then I found wellness, and I was like, oh man. But this is the first time I knew NPC had wellness, but this was the first time me hearing about wellness in like the natural federations, and not that many federations at the time had wellness. So now I'm glad this year that multiple federations now are starting to add wellness in the natural federations. So which is super exciting. And for the girls who like are in betweeners or don't know where to go, there's wellness.
Okay. Okay. I could imagine for you when they told you about your quads, but like, but I'm the quad queen of the South. Like, what do you mean? Did they not know who you are? They better put some respect on your name. You know what I mean? Put some
Yeah.
respect on it. That's
Well, that name came like at the last show of my season last year.
yo, but they should have known. They should have known that you were going to get that nickname ahead of time. They should have. I'm glad you spared them. Thank you for sparing them. You know what I mean? So if you had to pick, like, all right, so because there are different divisions, you know, in
Mhm.
women's bodybuilding, there's so many of them. Like, if you had to pick, like, let's say, you know what, I'm gonna ask it. If let's say I'm a girl and I want to get into like wellness, yo, I literally when I'm thinking about that question, I'm like, why do I have to ask it this way? I'm gonna go for it. So
You're
let's
like, I'm just
say,
gonna ask.
yeah, I'm just gonna ask. You know what I mean? Maybe this is my plan. You know, interview women so that I can transition or something. Who knows? Who knows? It's 2023. Who knows? Anyways, if I were women getting into wellness, like, what are certain features that I would have to work out from your perspective? Like, what are certain things that I would have to build up? Like, explain in your definition what a wellness athlete is.
Yeah. So let's say if I had, or I would have to see your physique first and see like in order, like, because we have to see, you're like, okay, I'll change it in this perspective. So I have some clients that I'm training right now. Some of them want to do shows next year. Like right now they're lifestyle clients, and then I guess they're seeing my journey and how I'm competing and everything, and so now they want to compete, which is amazing. And then they asked me, what category do you think I fit in, or what division you think I fit in? And I was like, all right, let's look at your physique now. Some of them want to do wellness, and one of my girls who really wanted to do wellness, I was like, okay, I feel like you're more bikini, so let's try right now to build your legs and see to see if they grow and they build muscle, and then we can determine there if you can be wellness. And so when right now we are trying to build her legs and everything, and she's just more bikini. So then I had to tell her like, no, this one is gonna fit best for you. And she
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay, okay, I agree. And so I also get my coach's opinion as well, and I will ask like where you think this person fits in more, and he will also tell me too.
Right, right. So like
Hmm.
bikini is like the most like petite per se, right?
Yes, yes.
And then you start kind of building up from there, in my opinion, right?
Hmm.
So
Yes.
like you said, wellness is more of like petite with the legs,
Yeah,
like
so basically how many people describe wellness is like you have a bikini upper body, but then your lower half you have bigger quads, you have that glute and hamstring tie-in. So you carry more in your lower half for wellness.
I see how you fit perfectly into that division. And for everybody that's listening, you should visit Vanessa's Instagram. Her quads are absolutely amazing, I will say. Um, it is. So you said you're a trainer now. You're
Hmm.
a coach. Like what are certain things that what kind of clients come to you? Like what is your experience like while maintaining being an athlete and then also being a trainer and coach for some of these other individuals?
Hmm. So right now I have lifestyle clients, which is amazing because they want to start their fitness journey. Some of them want to tone up, lose lose weight and all of that. And so like I have actually one of my clients, she's doing all of them are doing amazing. But this one signed up when I did a 4-week challenge. She had a huge transformation from when she started to the last week of our 4-week challenge. And because of her transformation that she had, she was like, okay, I want to keep doing this. Like, I want to see how far I can go. And I was like, all right, let's do it and everything. And she is looking amazing. Like a bunch of my friends, they see her in person. They're like, Vanessa, what are you doing with her? I was like, she's following her meal plan. She's following her workouts and she's checking in. She's just following what I'm telling her to do. And this is why she's getting her transformation, which is really great. And I think she's going to decide to do a show next year. She's been talking
What?
about it. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. That is amazing. Like in your opinion, now I have my own opinion too, and I'll reflect it off of yours. But in your opinion, do you think that people should attempt to compete at any point in their lives?
It's never too late to compete. That's what I think. But to me, competing is expensive. Um, and you
That is
also
true.
you have to be financially able to compete because you have to get a coach. Actually, people don't understand how much you have to spend or how much time you have to dedicate to bodybuilding. And so once you break it down, like you still have to pay for a coach, you have to pay for your meals, you have to get a posing coach. And then like different federations, you got to get their memberships and then the cost to be in um, to sign up for the show. And then your bikini, your heels, your jewelry, tan, makeup, like all of that adds up.
Yeah.
And then also being able to have the right mindset too. Um, Bodybuilding is not a sprint, it's a marathon. It takes time and people want like a magic pill or something to happen overnight and it doesn't. Like you need to it takes time to build and grow and to get to where you need to be.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? You illustrated the why I believe it's very beneficial for people to do it because
Mm-hmm.
like you just illustrated, getting ready for a show is a lot of investing into yourself, investing into things. And
Mm-hmm.
people already in some dynamic invest into like their Netflix, they invest into their fast food, they invest into going to Dave and Buster's or things like that, right? And so it's like if you just kind of change the cost and make it about your fitness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ideally getting ready for a competition, it's the same cost relatively speaking. You're just changing your lifestyle. Instead of investing into having fun and stimulating yourself, you are investing into building yourself into a different version. And like you just said, in order for you to get ready for a competition, like my next competition is next June, right? I have to get ready, and
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting for me to lift now. I'm thinking 1 year in advance, and a lot of people intrinsically don't have that anything that they've ever had to practice delayed gratification for, practice looking for a different version later on. And
Mm-hmm.
honestly, that's the reason why I think it's the most beneficial thing, because you have in that process, like you just said, you have to develop the mindsets, you got to develop the things, right? One of the best quotes I heard is like, and I don't know if you're religious or not, but bear with me here, like, if you ask God for patience, he doesn't just give you patience. He gives you opportunities to build
Mm-hmm.
patience. You know, when you ask God for courage, it's not going to be like, oh, here's courage, right? And like, no, he gives you opportunities to build courage. And I feel like a lot of the intrinsics of you're like, hey, God, I want to be a better version of myself. Like, all right.
Mm-hmm.
So being a better version of yourself is making yourself a priority, investing into yourself, practicing delayed gratification, because you don't just get abs tomorrow. You can't just invest into one diet and like, no, it's compounded over time. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that by signing up for a competition, and when you have coaches such as yourself who are not only doing the work but making a playbook for people to follow, then it's like, wow, it's never about this monolithic goal. It was rather the mindset I applied that just then it's
Mm-hmm.
just, oh, because you break, no way, I can get ready for a competition. Like, it's just more stringent habits, right?
Yep.
Right. So,
And being able to say no to certain things.
oh, right, right.
Yeah.
What's one of the biggest things that you've had to say no to during your competition? Like, what's one of the biggest urges that you're like, like, no.
So at my work, our members love to bring us goodies. And so there's always donuts, tacos,
Oh,
cookies, and we all know I'm a cookie person. Um, uh, cookies, they bring banana bread, they would just bring everything. And just like seeing it, I'm just like, oh my goodness, I really want it, but I know I can't have it. But just the smell of it, I'm like, okay, I'm okay with it.
just the smell. Like someone just eat it and burp, please, so I can smell the
No, not
burp.
burp.
No,
That's
no, oh
gross.
no, no, that's going too far.
That's going too far. Just when you open the box of cookies and that like chocolate chip smell comes up or whatever cookie it is, I'm like, okay, I'm fine.
Oh, that was amazing. That was, by the way, that was a great recommendation to Tiff's Treats, by the way, when I was in Houston. That's when I had that. So that was amazing. Amazing.
That
By the what's your all right, so what's your because I'm probably gonna go back to Texas for sure. So like what's like your favorite Tiff's Treat item?
the Tiff treats. Oh, I love their so whenever the season comes out, I like their pumpkin cookie. But my go-to is always their a snickerdoodle or the chocolate chip. They're so good, especially warm. Like when they give it to
Hmm.
you warm, it's so delicious.
Wow. You know what? I was expecting some type of like extravagant flavor. Like I don't know, like pumpkin snicker doodle icker Snickers, blah 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 blah
Like
blah blah blah.
so their cookies are very simple and like the traditional cookies that you can just get from like the grocery store and just put in the oven. But their cookies are so, I don't know what is it about their cookies, but they're so addicting and they're so good.
Just, I think all cookies are made with like a little bit of crack. You know, you can't just have like one bite. You just know I gotta have another one. I gotta
No.
have another one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. You know, the closest I ever got to not eating a whole cookie was when I found out that crumble cookies provides their serving count in fourths. Like as soon as I found that out, I had so bitter sweet. It's like, you know, when you're like with someone and like you're kind of mad at them, but you kind of want them to love you a little bit. You know that resistant feeling, but you kind of want it. Like that's how I
Yes.
feel with crumble now when I eat it. Like it's like I love you. I'm kind of mad at you because you know manipulated me, but I still love you more than I hate you. So therefore, I'm gonna go back here and there. You know, like
Like who can eat one-fourth of a cookie and be like, okay, that's it. That's all I'm gonna have today. Like you gotta have the whole cookie.
right, right. Because you eat one fourth, you're like, well, that's three quarters of a cookie still to eat. Then you eat the next fourth, and you're like, well, I've already gone halfway through, and then you know,
Mm-hmm.
then you don't just leave one quarter of a cookie left. Like, no, they know what they did.
Yes.
They know. So, see,
And crumble's a whole different story too.
like what? Wait. Like what? I anything interesting?
I just love crumble. Like I just can't have, I know everyone says you can't eat one cookie. I can eat like two of those cookies.
Oh no, oh my god! Did you see on my Instagram story where I had like the 7 boxes? It was from my daughter's cheer. One of my daughters is on cheer, the other one's on
Hmm.
volleyball, and I was just like, but I was just having this fresh baked like 7 boxes of cookies, just like, oh my god, this is just crack, like all
I think
crack.
I even asked you, I was like, is that all for you?
Yeah, bulking. I'm bulking, guys. I'm bulking. 1 box a day, guys. That's the bulk. Oh no. You know what the thing is? Someone who wants to play that card would look at my Instagram like, well, Alan gets 7 boxes of crumble cookies and looks okay. Like I can do it too. Like, no,
Yep.
no. I gotta worry about sometimes what you post on there. Jeez, jeez. So with bodybuilding, natural bodybuilding, and the whole 9 yards, like what's you're doing more of these pro competitions, your second season as a pro. Like,
Mhm.
where do you see yourself going with the sport or evolving with the sport? Like, can you go into that?
I haven't really thought about that so far. I'm just like
Oh,
taking it like show by show and all of that. But no, I also want to keep competing for a couple more years and see how far I can take my physique and see where I can go. I definitely want to be one of the best, so I want to keep improving and try to show that I do belong in that category in wellness and that wellness is me, you know?
so
Yeah.
so you want to get better with wellness then?
Hmm.
I got you. I got you. any shows that are goals of yours? Are there any championships or people you want to
Yeah.
compete against or anybody like that?
Yeah, there's different shows I want to do. So I know there's the Florida Pro. I know the best of the best go to the Florida Pro, and they just added wellness next year to the show. So I know that's one of the shows I would love to do eventually. And then one of the biggest show when I found out Mr. America um, had wellness in December last year, they posted it. I was like, all right, I'm signing up, and I signed up for the show. I
Nice.
was like, I know the best of the best go to Mr. America, so I want to go to Mr. America, and that's been on my bucket list since I found out about Mr. America, and so I was like, that's definitely the show I really want to go to.
Nice, nice. Are there
Yes.
any athletes at the Mr. America that you're looking forward to competing against, or are there any really good friends or inspirations that are going to be there?
So there's her name is Gabby, and she's a pro wellness athlete, and me and her are like besties on social media, and I'm like, oh my God, I cannot wait to finally meet you in person. Like I feel like we known each other, but now I'm like super excited to like finally get to meet you.
Yeah, are you talking about Gabby? I think her last name is like Carreras or something like that.
I think so. Yes,
Yeah.
she
So go ahead.
she's also doing a podcast with you.
Oh yeah. Oh okay. Yeah.
Yes,
That's
yes,
that's.
yes,
Oh
yes,
yeah.
yes,
That's the same. I should have just said that.
yes.
The one that's yeah. Yeah. She killed it on stage. Like
She did.
my God, she's. You know what's so interesting? You just like the alter ego, like you just said with Gabby. She has that alter ego. Like when I met her at the Florida Pro, like she killed it in the amateurs, and she
Hmm.
just had this like the stage presence, the hair twirl, and I'm just like, who the hell is that? And then I remember going backstage. I'm like, hey, you did well back there. She's like, oh my God, thank you, really? Like just like that was not what I expected based off of who I saw on stage. So it's yeah, I'm gonna ask her about that. I'm gonna ask her about. I hope she hears this and
Ask her
goes,
about
yeah,
the. Yes,
go ahead.
I'm super excited to meet her. Like she is phenomenal. Her stage present is beautiful. Like every time like I see her post or she posts like all her stage stuff, I'm like, "Wow, you're so amazing." But we also have the best posing coach too. So we have the same posing coach,
Oh, really? Who's that?
Michelle, the posing queen.
Oh, she was. I think she was there at the most recent NFF show that I
Yes.
that I. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. She's awesome. She really is. So
Mhm.
big shout out to her. She listens. Like that's pretty cool. She told me she listens. So it was, yes, so cool. Um, but yeah, that's like really cool about the community, I think, and especially about social media like Instagram, is that you can be best friends with people and you can know people and
Mhm.
communicate with them. Um, before you even get to meet them, and hell, you might even develop a whole relationship without ever meeting them. And over natural bodybuilding, so that's cool.
Yes.
That is cool. All right, so one of the questions I like asking. So two more questions I
Okay.
really want to ask. So if you if you can talk to the version of yourself that got into working out, that got into bodybuilding, pick one of those. Like, what are some of the key piece of advice or guidance that you would give your prior version of yourself?
Yeah, I would just tell the prior version of myself when she started lifting, like, don't give up, like, keep going. Like, this is for you, because at the time I didn't know, like, if I should keep working out or like if I was just doing this because like I was just doing it because somebody told me to work out, and so then I fell in love with it. But I think the one thing I would tell myself is not like the person before me when I worked out is athletes don't talk about this a lot. So after my show last year in November, you go into like off season,
Mm-hmm.
and so um, a lot of people don't talk about it. Like it's sometimes you got so used to a regiment, to a routine, then when you go into like done competing, it's like, what do I do with all this time? What do
Mm.
I like? I'm so used to working out in the morning, in the evening, um, doing my meals, like making sure like I was on like a schedule. And so after I was done competing, I was off a schedule. And so I know like you have to follow your reverse dieting and do that the proper way. So I would tell my old self, please follow your reverse diet plan and do not crave into like, oh, now I can eat whatever. So I was eating out almost every day. I binged on a bunch of cookies and I packed on
Oh,
and I packed on all this weight. And so like when it came down to like December, January time, I was very uncomfortable in my own skin. I got to 150. I was very unhappy. Um, but I kept telling myself, like, it's okay. I need this food because I'm off season. I'm bulking. Like, it's okay. And I'm like, nope, it's not okay.
wow.
Because this
Wow.
prep, I was feeling it towards the beginning. I was like, oh my God. Like, this prep at the beginning was a little bit harder to start losing all of that I packed on in off season.
Wow. Wow. So where was that moment then in that journey, or that I guess that I won't say that moment, yeah, but what was that moment where you're like, oh hey, I'm doing a little too much here?
When I had my family trip and when I was going to Hawaii, that's when it hit me, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, how did I let myself get this far?" Um, I shouldn't have because I like on that trip, yeah, my pictures looked like I was happy, but I wasn't. I was enjoying Hawaii, don't get me wrong, but like I
Mhm.
didn't really want to post much. And then I also was getting like fit shamed on social media on Instagram.
Really?
And so like that when I was at my lowest, like I had somebody tell me, wow, you look worse than when you first started off bodybuilding.
Oh, wow, that was very nice of them.
Mm-hmm.
How did you respond?
Uh, how did I respond at that time? I was like, thank you for your feedback. I'm just super
Oh my
nice. I'm
God.
super
You
nice. Like at that
wow.
time I was just very shocked because it did come from a friend. So that's why I was like, yeah, out of all people, it came from a friend.
Wow. Well, someone put the end in friend. That's for sure.
Yes,
Holy
yes,
shit.
yes, they did. And so I was like, well, everyone's journey in off season is different. I was like, thank you for your, oh, and she said she was very concerned about me. So I was like, thank you for your concern.
What did they put that on a comment?
So yeah, it was after a picture I posted and then they like sent me a message and I was like, thank you. I was already
Oh,
feeling like bad about my physique at the time. So when somebody does tell you that, it like hurts. And so I used that, and I was like, okay. So when I came back from February from my on vacation, I was like, okay, I can't let this happen anymore. I need to get back in the right mindset. And I was like, I'm about to start prepping like again, so I just need to make sure my headspace is right before I can even start prep because I didn't want to go into prep with all of these thoughts of like, oh man, I should have followed my reverse diet better. I should have done this. And I was like, nope, you already did it. Like it is what it is. Now you're just gonna have to push 10 times harder and try and bust your butt in the gym to get to where you need to be for your shows.
yeah. Yeah. I think that's like where fitness is always just a continuous journey, because even when you get to a pinnacle of being up on stage, like you just said, it's just one moment, like you got to reverse diet because your body can't stay like that.
Mm-hmm.
But then sometimes you could let yourself go per se, and you could just start
Yeah.
getting to the point where literally within like a 3 month span, even a 2 month span, from being so damn comfortable being half naked to being so uncomfortable even with all your
Mm-hmm.
clothes on.
Yep.
um and it's but you know, I hate to say, but I hate to say I enjoy it, but I do enjoy the fact that this is one of those things that you constantly have to invest into. And I think that's the reason why people who maintain some kind of a physique are respected, because intrinsically there's some kind of discipline that's being
Mm-hmm.
maintained over a period of time. And you know, like people that have money, people that have the best relationships, or those things could happen in an instant, right?
Yeah.
And but someone who's fit and maintain being fit, it's really really well respected. So yeah, I don't know why I went into that tangent, but just but I did. But I did. So here we are back into this. I was like, why did I go there?
Yeah. Well, I
No.
did have some athletes that did compete that kind of fell off. Reached out to me. It was like, um, how was your off season? How did you do it? And so like just being vulnerable and being able to like be like, yeah, I went through the same thing, but we just don't talk about it. And so, like, speaking to this athlete and telling them what I went through, I was like, don't give up. Like, I look at me, like, I was able to come back and now I'm competing again. Like, just because you felt like you let yourself go and you got to a certain place that you can't come back, you definitely could come back and start competing again. Um,
Mm,
hmm
yeah. And I mean, I
so,
can no, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
no, no, go ahead.
No, what I'm saying is I can imagine again like how challenging it is for athletes to get to a point, get up on stage, and then you got to like kind of get off, and you're like after witnessing yourself progress and lose body fat, you know,
Hmm.
progressively, and then literally within a month you just could lose it all. It's like it's a lot of mental work, a lot of challenge. But I'm glad that you're talking about. Yeah, I think a little bit more awareness is being provided for it,
Hmm.
but it's still kind of taboo because although you know like how many times you see on Instagram like a fitness like 8 week shred this or this is get ready for competition, like how often do you ever hear reverse diet, like you don't.
You don't really hear it much. No.
No,
People
no.
just think you compete and then afterwards you can go back to eating whatever and still be looking like how you looked on stage. And no, you can't.
Right, right. How do you then approach that, like how have you been able to manage making that better for yourself?
Um, so I know this time around, like right now, I enjoy cooking and my food, but I know like this time around when I go into off season, I am gonna follow my reverse diet correctly, but also get creative with food, like cook it different ways, have it like able to have like the sugar-free sauces now back in your food and being able to get creative in that way so you could still like follow your reverse diet and enjoy it and don't feel limit to it.
Nice, nice. Yeah, that's just a good principle to have in general. I think with maintaining a
Mm.
healthy eating habit. All right, last question because I definitely want to know. So you've done a lot of shows, or not? Well, you've done enough shows. You're traveling to one of the biggest shows in natural bodybuilding. But so far, like, is there a favorite moment? Is there a big where you're just like, wow, I really love the sport. I love who I am in the sport. Is there anything that really comes to mind for you that just sticks out?
Yes, I think like all of the friendships I've made throughout the sport and and everything and like every time I like it just still shocks me every time I go to a show, it feels like a family reunion. Like, oh my God, hey, or you met this person once, or like I said on social media, you met them and you just don't know how it would be when you see them in person. But it's like, oh my God, I've known you forever. How are you? I just like those little moments. And like also stepping on stage and be able to share the stage with like uh other people that I admire and that I follow on social media and be able to compete against like the other pro wellness athletes is amazing too. Like
Nice.
I still shocked every time I step on stage that I'm a pro. Like I still can't believe it.
Nice, nice. That's surprising
Hmm.
because you were like what weren't you like the number one seed in this last NFF show that I saw you at?
Yes.
And you're still just shocked, huh? That you're just like, oh my god, I'm number one. So
Yeah, I was the number one seed for that show. But yeah, um, it still shocks me. I'm like, holy moly, I can't believe from where I started my fitness journey to where I'm at now, it still amazes me.
that's cool. That's cool. And I'm glad that little bit of you know, like you said, everybody gets a little bit nervous before they get up on stage, regardless of what they want to say. So
Yeah,
that
and I think another thing that's amazing too is just having like a good team. So I'm part of Team Bowflex, and my coach is Justin, and we have team trainings like every Saturday, and I will drive to Austin to go see my team and be with them. Like we are family. Like everyone like looks out for each other. We all support one another. Yeah, some of us may be competing in the same division, but we still like love each other and help each other out no matter what. So I just love that too, like being part of like a community and part of like a team that's just like family.
that's awesome. That is amazing. Well, Vanessa, I appreciate you being on. What is any social media handles or anything that people can follow you on or reach out to you on or anything?
Yeah. So you guys can follow me on my social media. It's Nessa Vanessa _5. So you always can reach out to me that way. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. And good luck at Mr. America. I definitely want to know how you tackled some of the traveling and everything, because I heard there's like some things like with water and bloating and things like that you got to compensate for. No, there is.
I think so. I don't know. I'll find out. I've heard things like because I know even when I fly, I hold water.
Hmm.
So I'm kind of curious like how that's going to play effect when I fly to New Jersey. But I think I'm going to document it since this is my first like travel show outside of Texas.
Ooh.
I think I might just document it on my social media or yeah, and like do a video about it from like when I leave and then show day and then when I come back, how everything is.
Hell yeah, yeah. I'm definitely looking forward
Mhm.
to that. And for everyone that listened, thank you all for joining. And until next time, guys, deuce.
Bye.